Hello, hello, hello. This is our second assignment for the week. If you have not watched the video for the first assignment, please go back and watch that one before you watch this one. And my lovely Tink has decided to join in with us today, even though she's taking a little nap. But let's go ahead and get to it. We're going to start with a bit of homework review. So we're going to start with our word problem. Whenever we've worked with word problems, I've always told you to read the problem once. If you need to read it again, go ahead and do that. And then make sure you figure out all of the information that has been given to you. So, our problem says, draw to show how two children can equally share 3 cookies. All right, so we know that we are sharing the 3 cookies, which I've drawn here, and they're going to be shared between 2 children. So, first step we've got to do is divide our cookies by 2. I'm rhyming. First step we got to do is divide them cookies by 2. All right? So we've got everything divided by 2. So now we've got 1 half, 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves, 5 halves, and 6 halves all together. So we're going to continue to write that. 6 halves, and we know that once again we've divided that by 2. We've got that easy math problem. 6 divided by 2 equals 3 halves. All right? And when we write 3 halves, we've got 3 over 2. And if you remember, we call this an improper fraction. And we've got to change this improper fraction into a mixed number. So we're going to look in our denominator, and we know there's a 2 in our denominator. 2 goes into 3 one time. So I'm going to write that 1 to represent that 1 that the 2 goes into 3. When we see that 2 goes into 3 one time, we know that there is going to be 1 out of the 2 left. So our answer to the question is 1 1/2. All right? Now, second problem that we're going to go over is 3 divided by 4. We're going to use that same step process. We know that we've got to partition it into fourths. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right? So now, all together, we've got 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4, 9/4, 10/4, 11/4, and 12/4. All right? So now we've got 12/4, and we're dividing that by 4. 12/4 divided by 3 is equal to 3/4. And when we write that out as a fraction, we've got 3 in our numerator and 4 in our denominator. All right? So that was just a quick homework review. Now, we're going to be going back and using our knowledge of division to help us incorporate those fractions into our division problems. So, within your work today, it's very important that you check your work, all right? So, after we finish our problems, I'm going to make sure that we check our work, all right? So, now, this looks a lot more familiar to you. Instead of it being 3 divided by 4, we've got a bigger number, and we're dividing it by a smaller number. So this is going to be a little bit easier on your brain, something that you can remember from prior knowledge, all right? So we've got 4 divided by 3. When I set my house up, we've got our 3 outside the house and our 4 inside the house. We know when we're dividing, 3 goes into 4 one time. So I'm going to place my 1 on top of my 4. Now this is where we're going to incorporate our fraction. When we continue going, I know I always put my multiplication symbol so that I know what my next step is. 1 times 3 we know is 3. Okay, the next step we've got to subtract to figure out what we've got left over, what our remainder is. So 4 minus 3 is 1, all right? Now, this is where you're going to get your fraction. We know that we're trying to figure out what this number is for, okay? So we've got 1 out of the 3 left, all right? So this is how we obtain our fraction. Now, this is where we're going to check our work, okay? We've got our answer, and we've got to multiply that by 3. So we've got 3 times 1 and 1/3. And if you want to write that out, you've got 1 and 1/3 plus 1 and 1/3 plus 1 and 1/3. All right? When you add your whole numbers together, you've got 1 plus 1 plus 1, and that equals 3. And when you add your fractions together, you've got 1/3 plus 1/3 plus another 1/3, okay? And that equals 3/3, or as we know, that equals 1 whole. Okay, so now we've got 3 plus 1, and that equals 4. So when we check our work, we see that we've come to the correct answer. So this is what I mean when I say check your work. When I see your problems, I want them to look exactly like this. All right? Now, your next problem is a word problem. Okay? The main thing I want you to remember when doing word problems, make sure that you're underlining important information as you go so that you know what the problem is asking you and you already have things that are going to help you come to that answer. All right? So our problem says, Polly buys 14 cupcakes for a party. The bakery puts them into boxes that hold 4 cupcakes each. The question says, how many boxes will Polly need to bring all the cupcakes to the party? All right? So, a big key piece of information that we already know in the first sentence says Polly buys 14 cupcakes. So I'm going to underline 14 cupcakes. Okay, when we continue, it says the bakery puts them into boxes that hold 4 cupcakes each. So we know that each of the boxes are only going to hold 4 cupcakes. All right? So the first thing I'm going to do is draw out my 14 cupcakes. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And this is going to help me keep track when I'm filling in my boxes. So I'm going to go ahead and draw one of our boxes. We already know that when they are giving out the cupcakes, each box holds 4. So I'm going to go ahead and draw in 4 of my cupcakes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And after I do that, I'm going to cross out 4 so that I know how many I have left. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I see I've got a whole bunch of cupcakes left, so I'm just going to go ahead and draw another box and add in 4 cupcakes. And we're going to repeat this process again. I'm subtracting 1, 2, 3, and 4. I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 cupcakes left, so I'm going to go ahead and draw another box. And we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we've got some cupcakes left. So, this question could trick you. It says, how many boxes will Polly need to bring all the cupcakes to the party? We know that we've got 1, 2, 3 boxes filled, but we still have 2 left over. So, although they're not going to be filled completely, we know we've got to add this into an extra box. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 boxes. Okay, so on your assignment today, you're going to have one word problem, and then you're also going to have problems that are similar to this. And it's also going to incorporate different things that we learned yesterday. All right, so we're bringing everything together so that you can keep all of that in your brain. All right, so this is the end of our lesson today.